Okay, the basic understanding of this structural portion is what expected from you. Basically, what you have to understand is the resulting device and its characteristics. So, this single PN junction, right? A single PN junction is called a diode. Single PN junction. So we have P-type and N-type. So this is the basic semiconductor device. We have P-type and N-type. Now, when you represent a diode, we put a symbol in the electronic circuits. So the symbol looks like, so this is your position. The symbol is given like this. Right. So, why we put this symbol? For you to easily remember, the P type is this arrow. If we look at this as an arrow, right? The arrow side represents P type, and this line, straight line, represents the N type. So I will say now explain how it happens. So this is the circuit symbol. Right. So the characteristics of diode will depend on the doping, right, dimensions, etc. will determine how much current it can take. So we look at it in detail. We don't have to be about it. Doping and dimensions are important, right? So just make a copy. I will go to the next section. We'll see what happens when you connect an external supply to this PN junction. So depending on how you connect the external supply, there are two types of biasings, right? One is called the forward biasing and other one is called the reverse biasing. We will first look at forward biasing. Of PN junction. So forward biasing means We have depletion region and we have holes here. And electrons here. If you connect the p-type material to positive side of the battery and n-type to the negative side of the battery, so we'll have to add the resistor here to limit the current. So negative polarity connected to the n-type, positive polarity connected to the p-type, right? So this is forward biasing. Now what happens here when you connect n-type to negative side and p-type to positive side? Now already this region, depletion region, doesn't have any charge carriers, majority charge carriers, but you know that the minority charge carriers can be present, right? But they are not significant. Now what happens when you connect the negative polarity here? Negative polarity can supply enough electrons, and the positive polarity try to pull electrons towards it. So here negative ions were formed by attracting electrons from this side, right? So because of the positive polarity here, these electrons will be again attracted towards it. Then this side, on the p side, positive ions were created because they lost or they allowed the electrons to diffuse from this side to this side, right? So there is a vacancy for electrons. Here we have plenty of electrons. So when the electron concentration increases here, they will come and fill these gaps, right? So eventually what happens is electrons here are attracted by positive polarity, negative polarity supplied electrons here. The depletion region will now narrow down. So beyond certain voltage, that means the barrier potential will be created. When you increase the voltage beyond the barrier potential, this depletion region will completely vanish, right? So depletion region completely vanished means p-type has holes for conduction, n-type has electrons for conduction. So there is no problem conducting electricity now, right? So electricity will be conducted within n-type, it will be conducted by electrons, and within p-type it will be conducted by holes. So the continuous attraction of electrons on this side and supply of electrons to this side will create electron movements in this side and the hole movement on the other side, and electric current will start flowing, right? So basically forward biasing, this is called the forward biasing. Forward biasing removes the depletion region so that the conduction can take place, right? So this is the arrangement when you this is how the PN junction behaves when you forward bias the PN junction, right? You write it down. Positive polarity to p-type, negative polarity to n-type, p-type loses electrons in the depletion region. N-type attracts or receives electrons to the depletion region. Thickness of depletion region decreases and when the external voltage exceeds the barrier potential, depletion region vanishes. So the depletion was the barrier all this time. Was the barrier for electric conduction. Now current flows from positive polarity to negative polarity. The junction causes very low resistance to current flow. Take the copy. So here the depletion region decreases, and when the external voltage exceeds the barrier potential, the depletion region completely vanishes. So the current will start flowing. So while the current is flowing, in the P-type it is the hole that carries the majority current, acts as a majority carrier. In the N-type it is the electron that acts as a majority carrier. Right? So the current will continuously flow. Now let's see what happens when you reverse this battery. Right? When you reverse this battery, so that the negative polarity of the battery is connected to P-type, the positive polarity connected to N-type. Right? So this kind of supply is called negative or reverse biasing. Reverse biasing. Reverse biasing. When you reverse bias, let's see what happens. This positive polarity will always try to attract electrons. So it will try to attract the free electrons available in the N-type. So some more electrons will escape to the positive polarity. On this side, the negative polarity can supply electrons. So these electrons will go and fill some more holes here. So eventually what happens is the depletion region widens. Depending on the voltage, when you increase the voltage, the depletion region will widen further. Right? So increasing voltage means high concentration of electrons here and higher attraction of electrons on this side. So the depletion region will widen and it will keep widening, right? So no current will flow except for minority carriers. So the minority carriers, they produce a very current is called reverse. Give the name later. Reverse saturation current, right? So that except for reverse saturation current, there will be no current that is flowing. Right? So in the forward bias condition, we said when you increase the voltage, right? When the voltage increases beyond the barrier potential, current will start flowing. So before that, you know that there is this minority carriers. So because of the minority carriers, there will be some amount of leakage current that is flowing, but they are not significant, right? So the actual majority carriers will start conducting when the barrier potential is over, right? So here the reverse biasing will increase the depletion region, right? And it will never conduct except for a very small amount of saturation current, reverse saturation current formed by minority carriers. Okay? So we can now compare these two conditions. Now this diode, right? When you forward bias, it allows the current to flow, right? When you reverse bias, it blocks the current to flow, right? So it's something like a switch. The diode acts as a switch. It allows the current to flow in one direction and blocks the current in the other direction. Now compare. We'll first write this description. Positive polarity connected to N-type, negative polarity to P-type, P-type receives electrons, N-type loses electron. Depletion region widens. No majority carriers. No significant current flow. The barrier potential increases. With the external voltage. Junction offers very high resistance to current flow. but we know that there will be very small current called reverse saturation current due to minority carriers. Take down. So basically we have only two operations, the forward bias operation and the reverse bias operation. The forward bias operation, the current flows when the barrier potential is overcome, and the reverse bias condition, the barrier potential keeps increasing, and because of that no current will flow except for the reverse saturation current caused by minority carriers. So if you summarize this is the diode. Diode is a single TN junction. Right? So if you connect it this way, battery, if you connect the battery this way, this is called forward biasing. If you connect the battery other way around, this is called reverse biasing. And we will try to derive voltage current IV curve for the diode from what we learned so far. So I am drawn this curve . We mark voltage here, current here. So when you forward bias, right, this is a 0 crossing. When you forward bias, until a barrier potential is formed, overcome, there will be no current flow. Now this quarter is forward bias. Right, positive voltage means P-type receives the positive voltage. Right, that is a convention. Positive side represents P-type getting the positive supply. If P-type gets the negative supply, that is this way. So the current will be positive, right? So, and I told you, until the barrier potential is reached, there will be small leakage current, and that is not much significant. So your curve will be something like this. Until up to something like 0.3 for germanium and 0.7 for silicon. Not much significant current will flow, but beyond that the current will exponentially increase. Okay, starting from 0. If you reverse This is forward biasing. Forward biasing. If you reverse the polarity here, reverse biasing. The beyond beyond zero, there will be, I said, the reverse saturation current, right? That will be, we call it saturation current because the current will not change with the voltage, right? It is saturated. So the current will be very small but remain constant on the negative side. But what happens is that if you keep on increasing the reverse voltage or reverse biasing, what happens is that this reverse current saturation caused by the minority carrier electrons, these electrons will gain more energy, right? Because of you keep on increasing the negative voltage, it will start gaining momentum and it will go and bombard other electrons in the structure. So because of that bombardment, further electrons will be escaping, right? Because of the impact, more and more electrons will start escaping, right? So when they start escaping, that will create suddenly a flow of current, right? But the problem is, this is something called irreversible situation, right? The current will beyond certain voltage suddenly increase, right, in the negative direction, and it is more steeper because the number of electrons produced will be sudden increasing, and because of that the large current will start flowing and it will be damaging the diode, PN junction, right? Because when the current exceeds, right, uncontrollably, there will be more heat generated because of the collision, more heat will be generated and the junction will be permanently damaged, right? So this is called avalanche breakdown, right? This point, this voltage, we call breakdown voltage, right? And this situation is called avalanche breakdown. So this happens at a very high voltage, so you don't have to much worry about this. It doesn't happen in the normal voltage ranges that we operate diode, but you keep increasing to a very high value only, this happens, right? But normally the forward bias condition, the voltage will be 0.7, 0.8, will not beyond that, right? Because the current will increase, the voltage will not increase, only the current will increase. And here also you will get, if you increase the current beyond certain limit, it will increase, it will go beyond the capacity of the diode. That's a different matter. But here, this is not the current we supposed to generate. We wanted no current on the reverse direction, right? Because the normal operation, the reverse bias condition, you don't expect a current. But if you keep increasing the voltage, right, this avalanche breakdown takes place because of the small amount of saturation current. Those electrons start bombarding other electrons and suddenly releasing a lot of electrons, causing the breakdown. And this is called a non-reversible condition. That means if you remove the supply, the diode will not come to the original position, right? It's a permanent damage. So we have to note that this is a permanent damage, irreversible damage to diode. Right? So this is for IS, or reverse saturation current. And this is your barrier potential. And from these operations, now we can look at the symbol again. We said the symbol is something like this. We said this is the P type and this is N type. Now you see, when you forward bias, the current always flow in this direction from P type to N type, forward bias condition, right? And this arrow represent the forward bias condition, right? In the forward bias condition, right? The current flow in the forward bias condition is represented by this arrow. So this, when you mark it like this is always P type and this side is always N type, right? And also this is called anode and this is called cathode, right? So this is the circuit symbol. One notation. So as you know, as I told you before, when this forward bias current increases, right, beyond its capacity to handle, right, that depends on the dimension and the doping level of doping in the P type and N type materials. The diode will damage because a lot of heat will be generated and the diode will damage. So we have certain limitations. So what are the limitations? Operating limitations of diode. First limitation is maximum forward bias current. Maximum forward biased current, right, that is in amperes. And the second limitation is, now if you apply a reverse bias voltage beyond VBD breakdown voltage, the diode will be completely damaged, right? So we have to limit the maximum voltage you can apply. So the manufacturer will tell you what is the peak reverse or peak inverse voltage, right? PIV, right? Maximum reverse voltage you can apply. So that is normally defined by the manufacturer, right? So peak, for various diodes, the peak inverse voltage will vary. PIV. Manufacturer defined. third parameter or limitation is the power rating. Maximum power, the power rating. Right? So that depends on the voltage into current product power. Right? So how much voltage, in what voltage, where you are going to operate, that depends on the power rating, the voltage and the current. So this is the practical diode, right? A practical diode. The characteristic of the practical diode will be like this. It will not be straight lines, it will be a curve, right? And on this side, although we wanted no current to flow, after certain time, voltage, it will break down, right? So basically, by forming a PN junction, we have created a device that can conduct in the forward bias condition and block current flow in the reverse bias condition, right? So if originally we had P-type material and N-type material, P-type and N-type material doesn't have this property. P-type can conduct, N-type can conduct. If you apply voltage, it will conduct, whether it's P-type or N-type. But if you form a PN junction, although we have the same material that we are using earlier, when you bond it together, the characteristic changes. So we have some control, right? So by changing the biasing condition into forward or reverse, we can ensure whether the current flow will flow or not, right? So the practical diode will have a forward bias characteristics like this and a reverse bias characteristics like this, right? Now we will see what is an ideal diode could be. First you copy this. Or copy, I'll erase it. So the intention of creating a PN junction is to allow the current in the forward bias condition and block the current in the reverse bias condition, right? So ideally, what we would have expected is an ideal diode if you draw the curve for the ideal diode, we would have wanted this like this. For reverse bias conditions, no current will flow, right? Not even the reverse saturation current. And for the forward bias condition, right, there will be no slope. It will be ideally like this vertical line parallel to x-axis. So we wanted the current to be like this. Beyond, when you apply positive voltage, there will be no voltage drop in the diode. Voltage drop will be zero while the current will increase. And in the reverse bias condition, there will be no current even if you increase the voltage, right? So this is what we would have ideally expected, and this is the curve for ideal diode. So this is the practical diode. So it is always a compromise. So ideally, we wanted a diode like this, where in the forward bias condition, and the reverse bias condition. The forward bias condition, the current will rise like this, and reverse bias condition there will be no current at all, right? And the forward bias condition there will be no voltage drop in the diode. But in the practical case, the voltage rises like this. So that means while there is a current, there is a voltage drop across diode also, right? So we will have an operating point somewhere here. Right? So when the operating point is somewhere here, there is a voltage and a current. So you know that we earlier said we defined the limitations, the power rating, right? So the power dissipated in the diode is this current into this voltage, right? That is the power dissipated within the diode, right? So what is power dissipated within the diode? That is the heat generated in the diode, right? So that is going to heat up the diode. So ideally, if we had characteristics like this, the power dissipated will be zero, because the voltage is zero, the current is high, voltage is zero, right? In the reverse direction, current is zero, even though we will increase the voltage. So there will be no power dissipated in the diode. In an ideal diode, there will be no power dissipated. But in the practical diode, some power is dissipated inside the diode, right? So power dissipated as heat in the practical diode. So that will form a limitation to the operation of the diode, right? So we will have to have different ratings of diode, right, for different applications. For high power application, we have to handle very large current. We have to make the dimension and the doping higher to handle a larger current, right? Whereas in a small current application, we will have a smaller. So we will have different varieties of diodes. So you can see in a book, in a practical book also, you can see there are a lot of types of diodes. The diagrams of which are given, right? So take a note, take a copy of this. Okay, now we will look at how we can obtain this curve in a practical. So if you go to your practical book, experiment number 35 is the construction of IV curve for a forward bias semiconductor diode. So the diagram given here is we have a potential divider, the rheostat acting as a potential divider. Variable resistor 5 kilo ohm. Supply is 12 volts. And this is connected through the diode. We have a millimeter, a voltmeter, and then a 100 ohm resistor. So this is the diagram that is given. The diode is 1N4001. It's a very small current diode. So this is the forward bias voltage. Now this whole setup is for forward biased characteristics. The reason they say is the reverse bias current is so small that it's very difficult to measure it in the lab, right? So they are asking you to draw a table for each VF, the diode current, IF, the forward bias current. This is in milliamps, this is in volts. So they ask you to start with 0 and then go in the step of 0.1 volts, right? 0.2, 0.3 and so on. So you can go up to say 0.725 volts is given there, right? So you measure the current, then you can draw IV curve only in the forward bias direction. Yes. Because the current in the reverse bias direction, the reverse leakage current is in microamps, which is very difficult to measure in the lab. So they ask you to plot this one. Right, so you read this IV curve experiment number 35 in your practical book. But if we have the right apparatus, if we just change the polarity of the battery, right? You reverse the polarity of the battery supply, input supply, you can get the reverse characteristics also. But the thing is, now the available devices are not sensitive enough, because it should be microamps, right? Sensitive enough to do it in the lab, right? So that is why they are asking you to take only the forward bias conditions. So take a copy and read the description given in the practical book. I will repeat it. Now we will stop it here, right? So this is your practical that is given in the book, right? So you have to go in step of 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, in step of 0.1, increase the voltage. Now you can change the rheostat position starting from 0. So this is your supply, right? So the voltage will increase from here. But you have to check the voltage here in the voltmeter, because the voltmeter measures the voltage across the diode, right? And millimeter measures the current across the diode, right? So looking at this voltmeter, right? You start from 0 and increase it in step of 0.1 and then measure the currents corresponding currents, and then you can plot a graph. Right? The graph is only for the forward bias condition. The reverse bias condition, according to your practical book, it says because these instruments are not sufficient sensitive enough to measure currents in microamperes, because the reverse leakage current is in microamperes. Even if you increase the voltage to 50 volts, the reverse saturation current will be about 10 microamps, right? So it's a very small current. It's difficult to measure in a lab, in a normal lab. So they are asking you to plot the forward bias graph only, right? So we will stop with this practical here. We will in the next class look at the applications of diode. There are basically two type of applications for you. One is the diode acting as a switch, and other one is diode as a rectifier, right? So the rectifier we will go up to, we will do half wave rectifier, then full wave rectifier, and then we will see how power supply is, a linear power supply is created using rectifier circuit as well as other components, right? Smoothing and so on. So we will do the complete power supply, linear power supply, and then we will also look at Zener diodes, right? It's a small variation from normal diode, Zener diode, and then what are the applications of Zener diode, right? That also we will look at. Zener diodes are used for voltage regulation. We will study voltage regulation also, right? So it will be a little bit longer area. So I will stop it here. We will do the next class probably tomorrow.